your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Game day is underway. This is the Terminix Kickoff Show on 1010XL. Presented by Clearwater Irrigation and Gatorade Fast Twitch. Here are your hosts, Hayes Carline and Mia O'Brien.
I don't know what's weirder, Carline, looking at you from across the table at 1010XL World Headquarters, or the fact that here we are on a Monday beginning Jaguars pregame coverage for all of the Superstation, all of us here who cover the Jacksonville Jaguars in the wonderful city of Jacksonville. Because, man, oh, man, we haven't felt like this in quite some time, and maybe it's changing up the schedule a little bit, which is just what the doctor ordered for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
We still get to chug drinks today, right?
I think Dylan Denmark, because he's still here at 1010XL World Headquarters, and we can see his wonderful face on the live stream. Yes, we are live on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Maybe he can just run in the break room and concoct something.
There's got to be something around.
Yeah,
I got some sweet tea.
That we can.
We are at the Superstation, and so the Heeligans, the Googans, they are known to sometimes pop by. So if you were so inclined to drop off a brackish vodka drink or whatever it may be, Mia O'Brien, Hayes Carline, we are coming at you live from the Superstation here in Duval County. Rick Ballou, boots on the ground up in Buffalo for us. We also will catch up with former Jaguars reporter, now of course the columnist up in Buffalo, Ryan O'Halloran, as well as the voice of your Jacksonville Jaguars, Frank Frangie, who will join us momentarily to break down tonight's Monday Night Football game. Only the second time in more than 12 years, Hayes Carline, that the Jacksonville Jaguars have had the privilege of playing on Monday night.
Yeah, and you got to take advantage of it. You've got a season to salvage. It's early in the game to have to think that way, but with an 0-2 start, if you don't get it done tonight, going to 0-3, you're up against some pretty long historical odds to get into the tournament. So, yes, it's just the third game, but I think obviously a critically important one. And a game for us to find out, are the Jaguars mentally weak or are they mentally strong? I think tonight we're going to find that out, because from a talent standpoint, there's no reason they can't go up there and beat a good Buffalo team.
The Buffalo Bills enter this contest 3-0. Last year, the meeting between these two teams saw a then 2-2 Jaguars squad facing off with a 3-1 Buffalo team. And I think I almost misspoke a little bit, Hayes, when I spoke to Mitch Morse last week and I said about a rough start for the Bills last year, and he kind of looked at me funny. Make no mistake about it. The Buffalo Bills, yes, started 0-1 in 2023 with that abysmal Monday night loss, ironically enough, to the New York Jets, in which they lost Aaron Rodgers for the season. But then they went on a 3-game run in which they looked like the best team in the National Football League. History kind of repeating itself a little bit, because they look like a well-oiled machine once again heading into this Week 3 matchup. Without
a doubt, James Cook has been a sensational story early on for the Bills. He's really been dominant. He's allowed those receivers that they're trying to sort of break in to kind of go at a slower pace. They haven't really gotten Kincaid going. That's certainly something that we'll break down over the next 2 hours, that sensational second-year tight end for the Bills. Josh Allen's obviously been flawless with the football. He has got a tendency to give you chances defensively to make plays against him, but he's been really good through their first 2 games. So, again, we'll see. I'm also concerned, not concerned, but I'm curious to see if the layoff this early in the year is a problem for the Bills, who go from a Thursday night all the way to a Monday night. So an 11-day gap between games. So again, just something kind of to keep your eye on there tonight from a precision standpoint, particularly in that first quarter, because obviously a team that's confidence is shaken like the Jaguars, they need that good start in Orchard Park tonight.
And the Jaguars arguably played their 3 best games of the season last year, in which they had to play 3 games in 10 days, which included that aforementioned meeting last year between the Buffalo Bills and the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is the Terminix Kickoff Show, brought to you by Clearwater Irrigation and Gatorade. We have you covered as we kick off pregame coverage between the Jaguars and the Bills right here on the Superstation. So many ways you can interact with us. We are live streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and X. You can leave a comment, chime in with your thoughts, a pregame score prediction, perhaps. We may be asking this guy, not a score prediction, but an X factor, if you know what I mean. The text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, also open, 641-1010. Mia O'Brien, Hayes Carline, and now joining us from Buffalo, New York, Dylan.
Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
It is Frank Frangie, the voice of the Buffalo Bill, wow, that's how you know. This is a Monday. I got a case of the Mondays, Frank. Let's hope the Jaguars don't. I'm going to get off.
You've been traded.
I'm going to get off the microphone. I spent too much time in Central and Western New York the last few days. Here he is, the voice of the Jaguars on the Garber Auto Mall hotline. How are you, sir? Have you had any wings yet?
Well, oftentimes the one traded is the last to know, just so you know that. So it does happen sometimes.
I was off for a couple days there, so maybe it's me that actually has the new job.
I've been there many times, man. I hear you. So, yeah, we had some wings last night. We didn't go all the way to the Anchor Bar. Went to sort of the Bada Bing, which is the Anchor Bar Light, and had a bunch of buffalo wings last night as we got ready for this thing. But it's an important one, man. You guys talked about it. It's kind of funny. It's fitting for this season, I suppose. It was beautiful all for 10 days, they told us. Gorgeous yesterday. Wake up this morning, it's been raining all day long. Now, the rain's going to clear out of here, so it's going to be, I think, a dry night tonight. At Highmark Stadium, weather in about 72, so weather won't be a factor. But everything is good here, Mia, and it is a very important game for the Jags to talk about.
Frank, let's just, get the obvious out of the way. How big is this game for Trevor Lawrence from a national perspective, but also channeling that anger he showed after the Cleveland loss into a execution at a high level kind of game tonight?
Yeah, Trevor, obviously, Hayes is protected. He's here for a long time, making a lot of money, extended for a long time. So I don't think it's important for where his career goes. But, yeah, I hear you. There's a perception out there that is he taking the next step? Is he going to take the next step? People are now asking that question. I think he's going to. But, yeah, I hear you. There's some pressure on him a little bit. There's some pressure on the offense, really. This is an offense. I think Doug Peterson said it in the media in his press meetings, and the players have said it. The big head-scratcher with this Jaguar team 2 games in, and it's only 2 games in, is why hasn't the offense been better? Why haven't they scored more? Why haven't they gone up and down the field more? Why haven't they been better on third down and in the red zone? We're all scratching our heads about that. I think Doug is. I think Trevor is. I think they all are. So, yes, it's an important game, certainly from a perception standpoint, how people feel about you, Hayes. But it's also, man, you don't want to be 0-3. And you don't want to be 0-3 with now you're going on the road to now a kicked-off Texans team tomorrow. So for many, many reasons, this one really matters.
So, Frank, that means that in all of your meetings you've had this week and all your conversations, you have not been able to put a finger then on why the Jaguars offense has sputtered or looked clunky at times, or maybe heard from people inside the building who've been able to identify what the problem is.
Yeah, I don't think it's one thing. I think that's the point. I think that's what they've all said. It's not like, okay, the left guard's not playing well. Okay, we're missing our tight end. Oh, it's not this. It's not the right tackle. It's not this or that. And it's really not. And I'm just spitballing random ideas. I think what it is together there's been some communication breakdowns. The wrong call will go out there. One thing will be called and someone will think it's something else. Quarterback, one time Trevor doesn't step up when he's supposed to. Another time an offensive lineman whiffs. Too many things are happening. I think for me, I'd like to see them attack through the air a little bit. Now, that's me. That's not inside information. That's not something I've been told inside the building. I would like to see them attack through the air more. I think that's where their weapons are. Even with Evan Ingram down, I think that's where their weapons are. But you've got to have balance. You got to somehow find a way to move the ball. Remember this now. The Bills have scored north of 30 points both games. They can really score. They lead the league in offense. I mean, they can really score. You're not winning this one if you score 21 points. You're just not. I don't know what the final score is going to be, but the team with 21 isn't winning the game tonight. I can tell you that. The way it's not going to be like it's been the last 2 weeks. A lot of pressure on that offense.
Without a doubt. Defensively, the Jaguars look like they're in good form so far. What will be some keys tonight, in your opinion, for the Jaguar defense to at least contain Josh Allen and that Bills offense?
You've got to make them one-dimensional. James Cook cannot continue to run wild. I think that's the biggest thing. He's already got 150 yards rushing. He's been explosive. Andy Hayes, he's been fast, man, the former Georgia Bulldog. He's looked explosive. They've got to stop him. They've got to be better in the interior of the line. The linebackers have played pretty well. I'm not sure the tackles have played very well. I think if there's a weak area, the secondary has been a very pleasant surprise. The linebackers, Devin Lloyd has really taken that Mike linebacker spot. Foye Oluokun always plays well. Gravon Walker and Josh Hines-Allen have made an impact. Not as much as they'd like, but they've made an impact. I don't think the tackles have played very well. So they've got to play better. And they're the key to keeping those guards and centers off those linebackers, Hayes. So I think step number one is you got to keep James Cook in the running game from running well. Ray Davis, the rookie from Kentucky, Florida fans saw forever. They have good running backs. So you got to keep them. You got to find a way somehow to keep them from running crazy. I think that's step number one. Josh Allen's going to get his. He's going to make some plays. keep him from making too many plays off schedule. Keep him in the pocket and keep them from running the football. I think that's priority 1 and 2 for the Jaguar defense.
Frank, we know you're pressed for time on the Garber Automall hotline, so let's get right to it. An X factor for you for the Jaguars and an X factor for the Buffalo Bills.
Well, I think certainly for the Jaguars, it's those 2 defensive tackles. Whoever lines up, and they're going to play a bunch of guys in there. So without calling out names specifically, Mia, the X factor has got to be the tackles have to play well. They may not show up in the statistics, but Mia, they've got to play well. Those tackles have to play well. They've got to hit. They've got to stuff the line. I think without question, they're the most important thing. Now, look, the Jags have to score. I could give you 8 X factors, right? You got to score. You got to get Christian Kirk and Gabe Davis involved because Christian Kirk hasn't been involved at all yet. He's got to get involved. You got to stretch the field with Brian Thomas. But I think the most important thing is if the Bills hold the ball, the Jags can't get off the field. They can't make third downs. It's going to be a nightmare. So I think the 2 defensive tackles more than anybody else. I think James Cook's the X factor for the Bills. If you look up, Mia, and it's 10:15, and there's 8 minutes left in the game or 11 minutes left in the game, and James Cook is nearing 100 yards rushing and another 50 receiving, the Jags are going to lose the game. So I think the key for Buffalo is getting James Cook involved as they have for the first 2 games. And I think the very clear key for the Jags is they've got to stuff the run. They got to stuff him. They got to be more physical. Hayes, you and I have had this talk on the talk show. They've got to be more physical. There's no question about that.
Well, we know they pride themselves on stopping the run so they can have fun. And they ironically will be going up a guy who I know really coined that phrase here in Jacksonville, DeJuan Smoot, making his debut for the season and debut in a Bills uniform on the other side up there in Buffalo. Frank Frangie will be on the call this evening right here on the Superstation with the Hall of Famer Tony Baselli, Jeff Lageman, and Bucky Brooks. We look forward to it, sir, and we look forward to hopefully speaking with you, the voice of the Jaguars, not the Bills, after a Jaguars victory. Thanks so much, Frank.
Okay, Hayes, man. Thank you, guys.
There he goes again. Frank Frangie, boots on the ground up in Buffalo on the Garber Automall hotline. This is the Terminix Kickoff Show brought to you by Clearwater Irrigation and Gatorade. Folks, we are just getting started. Call a friend, tell a friend. Mia O'Brien, Hayes Carlion. We are with you till 4:30, getting things popping right here on the Superstation. Don't go anywhere. We will dive further into the matchup, our keys to the game. We head into the locker room to hear from Josh Hines-Allen, among others, with so much more to do over the next 2 hours. This is 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
In your car or out of your car.
Get me out of this car.
Take 1010XL with you wherever you go.
We're online and ready.
By downloading our free 1010XL app. Available for all smartphones and tablets.
If you're looking for custom metalwork, look no further than Superior Fence and Rail. Whether it's custom railing, shade structures, or custom entry gates, their expert team controls the turnkey process. From CAD design and raw metal to powder-coated finish and expert installation. When you choose Superior Fence and Rail for your custom metal project, you get a project that's, well, superior. So get off the fence and call Superior Fence and Rail today.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwoods. I've heard people selling diamonds saying they have high-quality diamonds at rock-bottom prices. Can that happen?
Frank, that'd be like a Mercedes dealer saying they sold at the same price as a Yugo. That just doesn't happen in any industry, and people who believe it are always the ones looking for something too good to be true, and they normally find out later it was. In diamonds, when you talk about higher-quality diamonds with credible diamond grading reports from GIA, AGS, or Forevermark, the prices are higher, but so is the quality and value. Now, for a customer to understand that, they have to try to learn things like going to the internet, but they're going to get confused because they don't have an expert to ask questions to. The best way to get answers is to come in one of our stores and ask one of our professionals what those questions are and have them explain real diamonds to you. The result will be you'll understand more about a diamond's quality, price, and value by coming in.
Underwood Jewelers in San Marco, in Avondale, and at the shops of Ponte Vedra.
Wicky Split AC Plumbing and Electric is now hiring. If you have a 5-star mentality to provide world-class custom plumbing or electrical solutions, you should work with Wicky Split. Their team is incredibly supportive, positive, and dedicated to being the best. If you have a valid driver's license with at least 18 months of experience, apply at Wicky Split, an equal opportunity employer offering competitive pay, a service truck, and a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Hiring management positions too. Visit WicketySplitFL.com.
3D Digital Ball has you covered for any of your business's digital marketing needs. From producing award-winning videos to getting those digital ads to follow your customers around the internet, our team has your back. Visit 3ddigital.com or give us a call at 904-712-4004 to schedule a free consultation today. 904-712-4004.
1010XL is the home of Gator Nation and the Gator Bites podcast presented by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. I'm Hacker, and we keep you connected with the University of Florida all year long. Get Gator Bites where you find podcasts.
This college football season, we're celebrating more than touchdowns. It's time to honor playmakers of the classroom. Thanks to FIS and the College Football Playoff Foundation, Gator Ball Charities is surprising 16 local teachers with $1,000 each week. Every honored teacher gets a special invitation to the Taxpayer Gator Bowl January 2nd to be celebrated on the field. Teachers from Clay, Duval, Nassau, and St. Johns County, grades K through 12 are eligible. Nominate a deserving teacher today, and let's score big for education at taxpayergatorbowl.com.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL Green for Life.
Navy Mutual was created by service members for service members, so we know what it means to serve. Our policies have no active duty service restrictions, so you can rest assured that you're covered no matter your duty station, home or abroad. To go even further, we promise that premiums will not be higher for those who serve in dangerous environments, including aviation, diving, or on deployments. Let us help you protect those you love the most. Learn more at NavyMutual.org.
Does the building you go to work in every day need a little love and attention? Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Great companies take great care of the buildings their staff and customers walk into every day. If the building you're in doesn't match the vision you have for your company, we can help. Go to performance-painting.com. Our highly trained team makes the difference. Quality coatings applied with pride.
Performance Painting. Yo, it's your boy E to the T, and I hope everybody had a plentiful betting weekend with my bookie. There was some money to be made. But check this out. We have a rare opportunity tonight with a doubleheader on Monday Night Football. We travel to Buffalo while the Bengals host them Commanders. If you're a big game hunter, get in on the action with Monday Night Football and bet the parlays. Parlay bets have a bigger payout when you hit. If you nail the spread and the over-under total for both games tonight on the parlay bet, it pays plus $1,200. That's a $100 bet that just turned into $1,200. If you haven't signed up, here's the deal. For a limited time, my bookie is bringing back the double deposit bonus. You need to get started now. Use my promo code 1010XL to claim that double deposit bonus on your money on your very first deposit. You heard that right. Double your money with promo code 1010XL. Then parlay your way onto that straight cash on me. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with my bookie. Come on, somebody.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
The Terminix Kickoff Show.
Presented by Clearwater Irrigation
and Gatorade Fast Switch.
On 1010XL.
You know, Carline, everybody who's so worried about, oh no, the Jags are 0-2, no one cares, the Jags, the apathy. We got almost 100 people watching on YouTube right now. Our friend Logan Bulls, photographer extraordinaire, texting us, listening while he's driving down I-75 from covering Sunday Night Football. So many of you on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Again, I think that Monday Night Football energy, maybe that's the elixir, the antidote to this 2-game skid to begin the season.
I think it absolutely will be. And again, even before Houston looked awful yesterday against the Vikings, you're literally 2 wins away from being right back where you need to be. And if this team can't beat Buffalo and Houston on the road, then I think you have to wonder, okay, well, what is your is your ceiling here? I mean, we all think that, this is a team that is built to get into the tournament, and hopefully if you get the right breaks, make a run in the tournament. You should be able to respond. They should have beaten the Dolphins. Certainly losing to Cleveland was very disappointing in the home opener. But this is the NFL. You go win a game tonight. I'm not saying it's easy, but, everybody's telling Buffalo how great they are and that they're not going to lose a game. And we know how this formula works. Go win a game tonight, play well, sustain it. You played well for 43 minutes against the Dolphins, sustain that for 60 minutes, and then go see what you can do in Houston next week. And, I mean, look, if you win 2 games in the next 7 days, you're right back where you needed to be. I mean, the Miami and Cleveland game, while disappointing, will be long since forgotten. But you got to go do it. I mean, we can sit here and talk and say, well, if this happens, then, they'll be fine. It's up to them. It's what kind of season do you want to have? Do you want to be an embarrassment, or do you want to have a season that you can be proud of? Not us. You can be proud of. You're the one that's been doing the work. We've just been out there watching, and the fans have just been out there hoping for the best. It's up to them now. You've played your mulligan. And you may have some mulligans down the road, but for right now, you've played your mulligan. This has to be a game tonight that you can hang your hat on and come home with a win. And if you don't, I just don't think at 0-3 this team's coming back.
You tell me, Hayes, you liked Trevor Lawrence standing at the podium last Sunday.
Absolutely.
In the loss to the Browns and saying, we suck right now, and going up and down the line and saying everything that's wrong. You liked that fire.
I love that fire. And look, he took accountability as well. But I liked what he said about we've got to stop. If your feelings are getting hurt with the criticism, then you're in the wrong line of work. Now, that needs to be something that he takes as well, because certainly Trevor Lawrence needs to play better as well. But yes, it's got to be player-led. If you're ever going to get anywhere as a team, Doug Peterson and his staff, they can only take you so far. At some point, the players have to say, we're done with this. This isn't who we are, and we are going to put a better product out there. We are going to execute it at a higher level, and we're going to do it consistently, and we're going to get on a run here. So it was great seeing him do it, but now that talk has got to lead to action with Trevor Lawrence playing tonight and reminding everybody what kind of player he can be in this league.
So let me ask you big picture, which you're firing me up, by the way. This is the energy we need on a Monday afternoon in general, let alone before a Jaguars Monday Night Football game. I don't need a specific answer to this, Hayes, because I know people have been bothering me on X, Facebook, Instagram about it. I know they bother you as well. That notion of, I'm tired of, it's hurting your feelings. If it's hurting your feelings, you're in the wrong line of work. The second half of last week, being in the locker room, even last Monday, hearing from Doug Peterson on Zoom, does it feel like those words from Trevor have struck a chord, and or there are people in that locker room and in that building who had harsh conversations last week and are having to come to terms with it this week?
I think everybody on that offense has to be some feeling of endangerment. Let's start at left tackle, because if Cam Robinson plays poorly again tonight, I don't know why they wouldn't start Walker Little at Houston on Sunday. I mean, so...
Little homecoming game, too. Continue.
Yeah, right. That's a great point. So if you're Cam Robinson, you need to play well tonight if you want to continue to be the starting left tackle. I think Anton Harrison, you could make the same case. Look, if Cam Robinson plays great tonight, but Anton Harrison struggles, you can't... At some point, you've got to utilize you've got very few pieces of depth on this roster, which is fine. That's most NFL teams. That's not a criticism. But your swing tackle probably is one of the best swing tackles in the NFL, a guy that probably would be a capable starter for a lot of teams in the NFL. Use it. So Anton Harrison, I think, is under some fire if Cam Robinson plays well, but he doesn't. Look at Christian Kirk. We've all thought Christian Kirk is the focal point of this offense. He gets injured last year, and it leads to everything falling apart. Well, now the rookie looks great. I mean, Brian Thomas looks like maybe he should be the focal point of the game plan moving forward. So if you're Christian Kirk, you've caught 2 passes for 29 yards in 2 games. Big night for you. Get open, get separation, have that communication piece with Trevor. No reason that they shouldn't have it and have a big game. Now, I think he does that, and I think the offense will play well tonight. But, again, it's got to start tonight. You're out of mulligans. You cannot drop this game and realistically consider yourself to be a contender for the tournament. You can't get up there with a loss tonight and be like, well, this isn't who we are. Well, it is who you are. You were 0-3 if you lose this game, which means you'd have to go, 9-5 the rest of the way just to maybe have a sliver of hope of getting in at 9-8. You're just digging yourself too great a hole. So it's got to start tonight. We're going to find out all we need to know about how this team is wired over this next 8.5 hours. In 8.5 hours, we will know, are the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2024, are they mentally weak or are they mentally strong?
Let's hear from the head coach, Doug Peterson, as he does each and every Friday, catching up with Frank Frangie, brought to you by Renewal by Anderson. Here is Doug Peterson from earlier this weekend.
The coach speaks. Jaguars coach Doug Peterson joins Frank Frangie right now. Presented by Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors.
And we welcome you back to the program. It is a pleasure. Frank Frangie with you as we welcome in the coach, Doug Peterson, who joins us on a Friday afternoon. Doug, how are you, man?
Hey, Frank. Doing well. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And thanks for fitting this in. I know the schedule's a little different when Monday night game comes around. How is that for a coach? Is it different for your guys to have to kind of adjust your days a little bit?
It is different. We basically have a bonus day at the beginning of the week. So actually Monday was kind of our bonus day for planning, and we could actually jump ahead and look at Houston next week just a little bit, and spend that time looking at a little Houston tape, and then Tuesday was like a typical Monday for us and the players. Bring them in the building, watch the Cleveland game, make the corrections, and then Wednesday was a typical day off for the players. Coaches are game planning now for Buffalo, and Thursday, Friday, Saturday are our work days, and then we'll travel on Sunday. So it pushes things back a day, but gives really the players too a chance to kind of get in the treatment room, watch a little extra tape, recover just a little bit, and get ready for Monday night.
And speaking of Monday night, Doug, whether it's our generation or their generation, and by the way, I'm older than you, but I'm welcoming you into my generation. But we all grew up watching Monday Night Football. We really did. That's got to be a big deal for those guys, right? There's got to be a little more juice when you play on Monday night, right?
It is. It's still an exciting time. It's even though I know there's 2 games this Monday, but it's still a great opportunity. A lot of people tune in and watch, and just football fans in general. So the guys definitely get a little more energy going into these games, and look forward to playing in them.
Doug, I know you're a little concerned about the offense as you go into this Buffalo game. What do you do to get it going? Obviously, third downs are a big part of that. I know that. But as you look at your team offensively, what are some of the things you want to kind of work on here as you get ready for this game?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is we got to just start showing more consistency. We've made some mistakes that are just sort of the bonehead mistakes, not necessarily what our opponents have done to us, but what we've done to ourselves. And those are the things that we can't continue to make on the field and correct those. And I think the run game helps us do that, kind of settles into football games, and having some success there would also help. And you got to just stay out of third and longs. And to do that, you got to do better on first and second down and be more efficient. And, last week was a unique game because we didn't have many possessions in the first half. I think Cleveland had a 16-play drive out there, 11-play drive out there, and they had another 17 or so play drive in the second half, and so defensively, we've got to get off the field and find a way there to do that, and then the other thing too is we've got to begin to create some takeaways. That's another way of getting more touches for your offense, and I know they're coming. We've been close, and guys have been working hard at that, but just overall, our communication process, execution a little bit. Will help us, and jumpstart our team.
Doug, offensively with Brian Thomas Jr., he may be even better than I thought. I wonder how you feel about that. I got to tell you, as a play-by-play guy, the one thing you say is they tell us is don't ever anticipate, right? I thought that ball was overthrown. I don't know what's from your angle, but from up in the booth, I was convinced it was overthrown. and then he caught the dang thing. I mean, I don't know how you saw it, but is he maybe even better than we all expected?
I think so. Obviously there were some flashes and some really great plays on tape, from LSU, and just seeing the speed in person, it's real, and he has it. And really, when you watch Brian practice, you think he's gliding. It's almost like it feels like he's taking it easy, but he's really not. And that speed shows up in practice, and it shows up in games. And so those are things that we're obviously excited about with him, and how we can use that to our advantage, obviously offensively. And he's made, 2 weeks in a row now, he's gotten in behind the defense, and obviously drew the DPI penalty week 1, and then the big pass completion, in week 2. So just continue to work it, but he's definitely opened our eyes, to that speed and what he can bring to us.
Doug, let's talk about the Bills for a second. And any conversation about Buffalo has to start with Josh Allen. Obviously, he's such a good player. What do you see when you look at the Bills on tape?
Everything runs through Josh, quite frankly, and really probably more so, this year. He's really managing that team. I know the running game has really taken off and done some good things, and he's not having to throw the ball as much. And when he does throw it, he's efficient. And then defensively, they're creating takeaways, and Coach McDermott has done a great job there. He's been, obviously 8 years. Him and Coach Babbage have been together on defense now for that long. And so there's you see a lot of simplicity, but it's complex, if that makes sense. I mean, These guys, they work well together. They disguise well, and they communicate well. And it's a scheme that's been, it's been in the works now for, like I said, for 8 years. But on offense, that's what it is. It's going to go through Josh, and he's protecting the football, obviously, and it's just 2 games, but he's done a nice job of protecting the ball, and defensively they're creating takeaways.
Doug, how do you manage your team? Obviously, it's only been 2 games, but everybody wants to win every game, and it's been 2 close games, and everyone knew you had a tough schedule to start the season. Do you keep your guys motivated? I mean, I think you're really good at that. I told you that the other day offline. I sense that the team's in a good place. Are they when you meet with those guys?
They are. And part of my job is to put it in front of our guys. Show them the mistakes we're making. Show them the good plays we're making. So that they can see it. They can see it as a team, and we talk about accountability all the time. And I think that's part of my job is to show these players. And so when they see it, and they see it in front of their peers, the good and the bad, it makes them sort of wake up, but it makes them, just strain a little bit harder and do their jobs a little bit better. And that's all it's going to come down to, and we don't have to reinvent football or reinvent the wheel. We just continue to work, and I think our defense has played outstanding these first 2 games. I know we gave up the big plays in Miami, but really since then we've settled in and have done some nice things against Cleveland last week, and they'll continue to grow, and same with our offense.
Yeah, I agree with you about the defense, Doug. I think they've played. I think Monteric Brown was terrific. I think guys you called on were very good. Final thing, from a health standpoint, you didn't have Savage last week. You lost Evan in warm-ups. Tank Bigsby took a big blow early on. Any updates on those guys? Will they be game time stuff? Do you have anything yet?
I think Evan's probably a long shot for this game. He's progressing good, but I think he's probably gonna miss this game again. Another game. Savage is kind of day to day right now. We'll see where he's at tomorrow, and get to practice tomorrow and see what he can do there. And and Tank's shoulder, he'll be fine. He took a shot on it there during special teams at kickoff return, and but he should be good to go for the game. And and we're in a good place. Health wise, we just got a couple of guys here and there. Tyson's, obviously he's out for a little while, but we're in a good spot, and it's always been a next man up mentality, and that's what we got to do Monday.
Yeah, you guys have really shown that. I said Monteric Brown. I thought Brenton Strange played well. I think you've had the depth of the team has showed up, so I think it has. Monday Night Football coming up in Buffalo. Doug, I know it's a crazy schedule for this week. Thanks so much for taking time, man. I'll see you on the plane on Sunday. Look forward to it.
All right, Frank. Thank you so much.
And, of course, our thanks to the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars for joining Frank Frangie, the Frangie Show, as he does each and every Friday. Of course, that was from Friday. The Jaguars now boots on the ground up in Buffalo and ready for tonight's game, which kicks off at 7:30 p.m. And, of course, you could catch it right here on the Superstation. When we come back, we make the turn into, I guess it's not hour number 2, Hayes Carline. Kind of weird to be starting at 2:30, but we're with you till 4:30. So we're gearing up. We're just getting started. Again, Ryan O'Halloran is going to join us from Buffalo. We also will hear from players in the Jaguars locker room with so much still to do on the Terminix Kickoff Show, brought to you by Clearwater Irrigation and Gatorade.
1010XL puts the ball in play-by-play.
Kick on the way!
Impeccable today.
From way downtown, that ball's ripped.
For play-by-play, it's 1010XL.
Universal Roof and Contracting has been protecting Florida homes from the elements for over 30 years. Call Universal Roof and Contracting today for a free roof inspection and get 15% off your roof repair or replacement. Plus, flexible financing options and payments as low as $115 a month. This offer expires September 30th. Call 855-ROOF-HELP.
License number CCC 1330747, CBC 1258484.
UniversalRoof.com.
Have you or someone you care about been arrested or had their driver's license taken away? I'm Susan Cohen, and I work with David Robbins at the law firm of Epstein & Robbins. We are experienced fighters for those charged with DUI and all criminal offenses. I've been named the best DUI attorney in the state, and David has been named the best criminal defense lawyer in Jacksonville. In your battle with the justice system, there is only one thing you need to know. Dial David 24/7 at Epstein & Robbins, 354-5645.
WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Introducing Gatorade Water. Alkaline and electrolyte infused for great taste. Gatorade Water, always in motion.
Find it at your local Winn-Dixie. For the athletes who give everything, nothing beats Gatorade, the studied, tested, and proven fuel of the world's greatest athletes. Gatorade Water, proudly supporting high school sports on the First Coast.
Guys, feeling deflated in the bedroom? ED, low T, no energy? If your stuff is broken, call 904-STROKEN or 904stroken.com. No shots in the first treatment, now free. Fix your ED at 904stroken.com.
Get the latest on the Gators from one of the greatest Gators.
Touchdown, Gators!
Chris Doring joins Dan and Jeff on the drill Tuesday morning on 1010XL.
Go Gators!
Brought to you by the personal injury attorneys of Farah and Farah.
Hey, John, my dad, Randy Marion's gone absolute Cadillac crazy. You won't believe our Escalade lineup.
Well, how crazy we talking, Jennifer?
Buckle up, folks. We've got over 35 Cadillac Escalades.
35 Escalades? That's luxury overload.
I'm talking fully loaded models, cutting-edge tech, and that signature Cadillac style.
And the deals are even more luxurious. $4,000 Escalade loyalty rebate.
Plus 5% off MSRP on retired courtesy vehicles. Head to Randy Marion Cadillac on Southside Boulevard, Jacksonville.
Plus tax tag title $899 MNP and resistol.
Tell them Jennifer sent ya.
My name is Brian. I've lost 42 pounds on Awaken 180. I had a triple bypass in 2018. I had a hip replacement 2.5 years ago. My focus was just getting healthy and being consistent. With this plan, once you establish yourself, if I decide to cheat, I can cheat. I'm burning enough calories a day. I don't have any fear. You know, it's not really a diet. It's a lifestyle change. It changed my perspective on how to eat better and just kind of control yourself. And I hope what this does, I hope it enables somebody in their 60s that has poor health and no hope, that gives them hope. That's my goal.
Wow. Thank you so much, Brian. Hey, this is Matt Hayes, and Brian sharing his Awaken 180 story is the exact reason I continue to share my story with all of you. There's hope, there's a plan, and you will succeed with Awaken 180. Online at awaken180weightloss.com or call 844-346-1800. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Mia here. When it comes to roofing, whether it be shingles, metal, or most repairs, there is one name that has protected your home since 1999. Pro Jacks Roofing. Serving all of Northeast Florida, Mike and his guys have been repairing and replacing roofs for 25 years. Need insurance help? Mike's team can help. Raised in a military family, Mike provides great attention to detail with unparalleled quality and workmanship. They also have warranties, so you can have peace of mind. Call Mike today for a free estimate or online at projacksroofingfl.com.
Are you ready to upgrade your home? Experience the winning combination of style and performance with Renewal by Andersen. Energy-efficient, custom-built replacement windows and doors. Buy one, get one 40% off replacement windows and patio doors. Plus, 0 down, no payments, and no interest for 18 months. This offer expires September 30th and restrictions apply. Renewal by Andersen, proud partner of the Florida Gators. Visit rbafla.com for details.
License number CGC 1527613.
Wow, John, my Clearwater sprinkler system looks great.
All right, Frank, let's go ahead and program your Rainbird timer. How many minutes do you want the zones to run?
John, I think we run from the front 20, the sides 15, the back 10, the garden 5. Clearwater scores!
Well, that's a first, Frank, but you're the boss.
Clearwater Irrigation. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at sprinklers.
And drainage to
ClearwaterJacks.com. 1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville, the personal injury attorneys of Farah and Farah present this injury update. Farah and Farah, Jacksonville, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I mean, it's 3:11 Eastern, so technically, I guess we're still in prime time, and we probably could have done that for this, but instead we'll hit the Farah and Farah injury update here on the Terminix Kickoff Show. Hayes Carlin, Mia O'Brien. We are with you until 4:30. The Jaguars just announced that they have elevated 2 players from the practice squad and corresponding moves to the 2 players who were left behind here in Jacksonville as they work their way back from injury. Tight end Josiah DeGuara and for a second straight week, cornerback Christian Braswell have been elevated to the active roster by standard practice squad designation. They, of course, will replace Evan Ingram and Darnell Savage, the tight end and safety respectively, who were left back here in Jacksonville, did not travel to Buffalo with a hamstring injury for Evan Ingram, which of course kept him out of last week's game after he suffered that injury during pregame warmups. And for Savage, the quad injury he suffered in practice ahead of the Jaguars game against the Browns, in which he also missed that game. Hayes, not really a surprise. And you and I were just talking about it off the air. You know, if you want to tip your cap to Trent Baalke about anything, I think this idea of the modern practice squad and getting guys like DeGuara, who's a former day 2 pick of the Green Bay Packers, or Braswell, who was on your active roster last year and the apple of so many's eyes, having them on the practice squad is the best practice in the National Football League you can have, because injuries are going to happen. And you don't just have some young kid who's never played in the NFL before, instead who you're elevating to your active roster.
Yeah, they've done a really nice job building up their depth, and that showed in the secondary against Cleveland. They did a fantastic job. Monteric Brown really, did a fantastic job stepping in for Tyson Campbell. So hopefully that continues tonight. And I'm excited about Brenton Strange. I mean, you'd love to have Evan Ingram, obviously. But I thought Brenton Strange played well. So now I'm curious to see how he looks tonight against the Bills.
I think it's also important with Strange to note that, and now having DeGuara elevated, they had just 2 active tight ends last week because inactives had already come out when Evan Ingram suffered that injury in pregame warmups. So they only had 2 tight ends. And I think with Strange taking on Ingram's role, what's interesting is that he is more of a blocker than Evan Ingram is. What sort of opportunities can that afford you? Because if you're lining up in 11 or 12 personnel and you're having to account for Ingram to essentially be an extra receiver, how do you get that extra tight end on the field in 12 personnel? Are you accounting for Ingram? That numbers game, I think, is going to be fascinating in terms of formations, that it actually may free the Jaguars up in terms of getting more wide receivers onto the football field. Quickly wrapping up the Jaguars injury report, you heard Doug Peterson just moments ago tell Frank Frangie on Friday that he seemed optimistic about Tank Bigsby with the shoulder injury he suffered on returning a kickoff against the Cleveland Browns. He was limited throughout practice last week. Cam Robinson, limited on Friday, was a full participant on Saturday as he still has that nagging knee injury. And finally, Tim Jones popped up on the injury report Saturday with a foot injury. He and Bigsby are both listed as questionable heading into today's football game. Meanwhile, for the Buffalo Bills, 2 players already ruled out of this contest, and they are 2 very significant players. Terrell Bernard, the linebacker, which, mind you, the Buffalo Bills already down Matt Milano, their all-world inside linebacker, and then Teron Johnson, the corner, who is predominantly, Hayes been perhaps their ace in the hole when it comes to nickel personnel. He has been a guy who has been great on tight ends, great on those slot receivers throughout his tenure in Buffalo, especially over the last, I'd say, 10 to 12 games as he's really come on in the absence of Milano and many of those other defensive stalwarts.
Buffalo, that's tough to be down 2 great linebackers like that and your nickel. So we'll see how they respond. But that is, and obviously we'll ask Ryan O'Halloran in detail about it, but that's going to test, the roster that the Bills have built there defensively. So, again, that's the kind of thing that you'd like to see the Jaguars take advantage of tonight. They certainly have the weapons to do so. Go make, the Bills pay for that attrition. That's what this league is about.
I mentioned, about DeJuan Smoot, the longtime Jaguar, will make his season debut for the Buffalo Bills after missing the previous 2 games with a toe injury. He does not have an injury designation after participating in full on Saturday. Ditto to defensive end Javon Solomon. Speaking of pass rushers, you caught up with Jacksonville's de facto number 1 pass rusher, Hayes Carlyon.
Yeah, Josh Hines-Allen, kind enough to give me a few minutes of his time after Friday's practice, and he's had great success against the Bills. So, hopefully that happens tonight. I think he's in good form, and tonight wouldn't surprise me at all if Josh Hines-Allen was one of the stars of the evening for the Jaguars.
He switched up the name a little bit. We won't have Josh Allen on Josh Allen crime, but something tells me we're going to hear his name called more than once this evening.
We are pleased to be joined with Jaguars defensive end Josh Hines-Allen here on 1010XL 92.5 FM. Man, it's great to see you. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. About yourself?
I'm doing great. Monday night spotlight. How exciting is that for you?
Be one of the only games on TV. You grow up watching Monday night, Sunday night games, so it's prime time. You want to play your best on prime time, but you also want to get a win, and that's really our main focus going into this week.
How's the team bounced back from the 0-2 start?
We came to practice ready to play. I think these last couple practices have been ready. We've been playing fast. We've been knowing what we need to do. We've been executing. We've been taking the ball away. We've been very effective, and communication's been great. Guys are getting extra work after practice individually to get better and to build that confidence up for each and one of everybody. So, I'm very confident this week going into a hostile environment, and we're expecting it to be a great game.
You've had some outstanding performances against the Bills. Does that give you some extra confidence going into Monday?
For sure. But I know, going against them, man, it's going to be a tough fight at the end of the day. So, if I'm ready, if I go in there with the mentality that I'm invincible and, it's going to be a tough game, I got to bring my A game every single play. Yeah, I'm going to be ready. But if I go in there thinking that it's going to be a cakewalk because I've had success with them in the past, it's going to be a long day for me. So for me, it's just to go in, prep for the week, prep for the rushes, prep for the, physicality that's going to be. And, Monday comes, I done laid it all out there in practice. So just go out here and play fast.
What stands out to you about their pass protection when you study them?
The quarterback first and foremost. He's a heck of a player. He makes that offensive line really good. But they also have a good offensive line as well. My matchup, I like, Deion Dawkins. I think he's a heck of a tackle, and I know that battle is going to be an all-pro battle, and I'm looking forward to it. And likewise on the other side with Spencer Brown. So, I'm excited about this matchup. We got to, get him in pass situations and take advantage of those opportunities, and keep going, be physical with them.
Obviously, it's a team game, but defensively, you guys really have had 2 really productive games to start the season. Josh, are you happy with the strides defensively that you guys have made?
No, we 0-2.
In terms of the coverage, do you like what you're seeing there?
Definitely. They've definitely done their job, definitely been locking things up, and we just got to continue. But that's the identity, that's the standard that we set for each other, is to play at this level. But at the end of the day, we're 0-2. And that's what we care about. That's what we worry about. And what can we do better? What can we do differently to get a win in that column? That's what we're figuring out now.
James Cook has really had an outstanding start to the season. What makes Buffalo's ground game so potent in your opinion?
Staying consistent on the run. I think, when the running game's not going early in the game, they continue to run the ball. And plus, with Josh, he does a good job on, making up the running lanes. And so now it makes you have to play a little bit timid or like, okay, we got to put a safety down in the box or take a safety out. So now they run in the light box against other guys. But, for us, man, we have to win the battle up front. I think every game is won up front. And it's another game we have to take advantage of.
Josh Hines-Allen, thank you so much for your time. Best of luck Monday night.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I appreciate it. We all love Josh Hines-Allen, and hopefully he has another fantastic day because he has certainly had the Bills' number.
Speaking of people we love and speaking of Buffalo, let us hit the Garber Auto Mall hotline when we return. The one, the only, Ryan O'Halloran. We're going to head behind enemy lines, brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors, when we return on the Terminix Kickoff Show, brought to you by Clearwater Irrigation and Gatorade.
Does the building you go to work in every day need a little love and attention? Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Great companies take great care of the buildings their staff and customers walk into every day. If the building you're in doesn't match the vision you have for your company, we can help. Go to performance-painting.com. Our highly trained team makes the difference. Quality coatings applied with pride.
Performance Painting! Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Today's contestant, a dust bunny breeder from Jacksonville, Florida, meet Steve Johnson.
Welcome to the show, Steve.
It's great to be here, Alex.
Yeah, you don't have to answer it in the form of a question, Steve.
What is this game show?
See, that's another question.
Are you going to ask me about air conditioners?
Yeah, okay. How about we just send the Bueller guys over and you can annoy them with all your questions? Johnny?
That's right, Steve. Bueller Air and Plumbing can answer all your air conditioning questions, repair options, replacement models, and how to make your AC last longer while saving electricity, making sure you are cool.
Where is the parking lot?
You're killing me, Steve.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Whether you're navigating rush hour traffic or heading to the home team game on the weekend, remember, drive cautiously. If you find yourself in a fender bender, don't ignore those aches and pains. Injury Care Centers is there for you. Skip the urgent cares that treat colds and flus. They're not equipped to handle injuries. Go straight to Injury Care Centers. Call 904-783-0008. That's 904-783-0008. Drive safe, think Injury Care Centers, and go team.
The average cost associated with childhood cancer is a startling $833,000. This is Tom Coughlin, and September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. Help the J Fund raise awareness to help our neighbors and community members tackling this devastating disease. Visit tcjfund.org/September for more information.
Grinding out good grades can be just as challenging as winning games. That's why 1010XL salutes the Scholar Athlete of the Week.
Brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists and the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local Union 234. Wednesdays on The Frangie Show.
If you're searching for a new fence installation, challenge yourself to find a fence company with more positive online reviews than Superior Fence and Rail. With over 3,000 reviews and a 4.9 out of 5 review range, Superior Fence and Rail is, well, superior. So take the online challenge or let their professional team show you what superior service looks like. Superior Fence and Rail, where quality matters.
SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwood. Clayton, let's talk about diamond cutting. How is a diamond price affected by the way it is cut?
Frank, that's probably the most important question asked about diamonds, because the trade-off between a diamond cut for maximum beauty and one that's not is the diamond's carat weight. You see, diamond cutters buy rough diamonds based on quality and weight. So as they cut the rough diamond, everything cut away affects profits. However, there's specific known cutting parameters, and each deviation from these means they have a heavier, less beautiful diamond. Unfortunately, a customer can't detect all those cutting imperfections. They need expert help about a diamond's cut grade. You see, for any round diamond of a particular color, clarity, and carat weight, there are as many as 10 different prices that can vary by as much as 50%. At Underwood's, we look specifically at how a diamond's cut before we look at anything else, because it's the most important factor when it comes to a diamond's beauty, and to us, whether it should carry the Underwood name or not.
This college football season, we're celebrating more than touchdowns. It's time to honor playmakers of the classroom. Thanks to FIS and the College Football Playoff Foundation, Gator Ball Charities is surprising 16 local teachers with $1,000 each week. Every honored teacher gets a special invitation to the Taxslayer Gator Bowl January 2nd to be celebrated on the field. Teachers from Clay, Duval, Nassau, and St. Johns County, grades K through 12 are eligible. Nominate a deserving teacher today, and let's score big for education at TaxslayerGatorBowl.com.
Hey, sports fans, it's Hayes Carline for MyBookie. Hope everybody had a plentiful betting weekend on MyBookie. We have a rare opportunity tonight with a Monday night football doubleheader. We travel to Buffalo. The Bengals host the Commanders. If you're a big game hunter, get in on a Monday night parlay bet. Parlay bets have bigger payouts when you hit if you nail the spread and the over-under total for both games tonight on a parlay bet. It pays plus $1,200. That's a $100 bet that you just turned into $1,200. If you haven't signed up, here's the deal. For a limited time, MyBookie is bringing back the double deposit bonus. You need to get started now. Use my promo code 1010XL to claim a bonus that doubles your money on your very first deposit. You heard that right. Double your money with promo code 1010XL before you even place a bet. Then parlay your way to cash. Bet on anything, anywhere, anytime with MyBookie.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now let's go behind enemy lines. Behind enemy lines. Brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors on 1010XL.
Well, an old friend alert on the Garber Auto Mall hotline. Joining us now, formerly of the Florida Times-Union, now of the Buffalo News, the columnist of Western New York, Ryan O'Halloran, now on the Garber Auto Mall hotline. Hello, friend. How are you?
I'm good, guys. The check is in the mail for that introduction. I'm trying to figure out, this is a Monday night game. This is a win or in their real trouble game for the Jaguars. I get Hayes not coming up here. He doesn't like working more than 3 hours a day. We get it. We accept it. But, I mean, Mia, you're biz prime time. What the hell's up?
We won't talk about the fact that I was about 2.5 hours west of you, or east of you, I should say, as recently as 24 hours ago, because you know what? We're trying to change things up with a Monday Night Football game. Mia and Hayes in the studio together for, I believe, Ryan, this is the first time that we've been in the studio co-hosting the Terminix Kickoff show since the Jaguars shocked the world week 3 of 2022 against the Los Angeles Chargers. So maybe this is just the spark that the Jaguars needed, not having us and only having you as their spiritual leader.
Well, I mean, they should change their luck, but I would like to make an announcement. I will be calling the plays for the Jaguars offense tonight. I mean, they can't figure out how to announce that. I will be handling those duties. So ask anything.
Give us your opening script.
Well, it's going to be Brian Thomas, and then Kristen Kirk. There's your opening script.
I like it.
I like it too. You tell me, Ryan, on the other side of the ball, if you were the Jags defensive coordinator, what sort of script are you expecting from Joe Brady and company?
Well, I mean, I think they are committed to the run. Josh Allen has 42 pass attempts through 2 games. Circumstances have played into that. They've had short fields. They've had some explosive touchdowns, like Cook's 49-yarder. So, I mean, if I'm the Bills, knowing what's gone on the last 2 times they've played the Jaguars, is my first possession, I'm running some tempo. I'm going to see if I can wear out the Jaguars' defense, get a lead, and then play with that lead, which is what they do best.
When you watch Trevor Lawrence, what kind of quarterback are you seeing?
Somebody who's just struggling against Cleveland. And what surprised me, and you hear this stuff about, well, they're running a simple scheme offensively. I have no idea. I mean, they have 11 guys. Some guys are running routes. I'm sure there's some complexities. But what stood out about the Cleveland game is they ran 2 personnel groupings. The caveat would be how much was Evan Ingram's game time injury impacted that. So this gives them 8 days to play without Ingram. So, I mean, for a Jaguars fan, you got to hope they come out better than they did against Cleveland, because that was kind of an embarrassing first half, and it's a loss that became more embarrassing after you watched the Browns lose to the Giants yesterday.
Ryan O'Halloran is our guest behind Enemy Lines, brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors, of course, powered by the Garber Auto Mall Hotline. Ryan, let's talk about some of the injuries for the Buffalo Bills. We actually just ran through the Fair and Fair injury update before you joined us, and make no two mistakes about it, it's the heart of this defense that has been hit by the injury bug once again, literally and physically.
Yeah, big time. And just to run it down, is their best player on defense is Matt Milano. Their second best player and the best nickel in the league, I think, is Taron Johnson. He's out. And then your green dot guy, Terrell Bernard, got hurt against Miami early in the game. So if I'm the Jaguars, the way to take advantage of that is work the middle of the field. I mean, Dorian Williams and Bale Inspector, maybe get them thinking a lot, and then go after the safeties, Hamlin and Rapp. That would be my game plan, working between the numbers to see if these young linebackers are up to the task.
How effective is the Bills' pass rush? Von Miller certainly flashed the other day, but do you think they'll be able to consistently put pressure on Lawrence?
Well, I mean, every time I think so, they block it up. The thing about the Bills is they blitzed a lot against Arizona successfully, and then they didn't blitz at all against Miami because they didn't need to. I mean, Miami was terrible. They couldn't protect. Tua was throwing interceptions. I would suspect creative on third down, the Jaguars.
We're getting more some of that wonderful Western Central New York back roads that Ryan is certainly, I'm guessing, traveling on right now. Dylan will effort making sure we can get Ryan with a better cell signal. But he hit the nail on the head of what we were just talking about, Hayes. That this is a defense that physically and metaphorically lost its center. And the center of that defense, and the Jaguars have an opportunity to exploit that, as Ryan has found some good cell service up there in Western New York. What highway is painting us today?
Well, I mean, literally, guys, I am literally on Chuck's Road. That gets me a shortcut to the stadium instead of taking 90. But hopefully you can hear me now as the sheriff stops me. And this could be, I may make it until kickoff, but go ahead.
Are you seriously being pulled over right now?
No, I'm at the sheriffs take over the traffic about a couple blocks from the stadium.
Come on, it's already.
I thought we were getting ready to have our first guy gets pulled over on live radio. At least that
honestly,
I've been a part
this is
of.
already the best behind enemy lines we've ever done. I don't think I'm out of turn saying that, Ryan. No. That would have taken it to an all-timer.
Well, I had my line ready. If he wanted me to roll down the window, I would have said, "Officer, I know that's marijuana in my passenger seat, but I have not consumed any today."
Oh, my goodness. Keon Coleman, give us the report on Keon Coleman. A little slow to start, 4 catches, 51 yards, but certainly somebody that could give the Jaguars some problems, I would imagine.
Yeah, and slow start for Coleman, but more surprisingly, a slow start for Kincaid. That said, have they really needed them to be high-volume players? They're 2-0. But I think Coleman is a guy, as a rookie, I think you gotta prioritize him early in the game just to get him some confidence and say, hey, you're not going to be a 90-catch guy, but we want you to be a 40-catch guy as a rookie. So that's important. And I think it's important for Kincaid to get going as well. He's been slow to fire. So I think those two guys, maybe you have a course correction tonight and throw to them early.
I think what's interesting, Ryan, and we've done a lot of deep dives, if you may, here at the Superstation over the last week with regards to Dalton Kincaid, his usage, James Cook and his usage. Do you think a lot of it is simply dictated by the fact that Joe Brady says, all right, you're going to present a too high safety look because you're so concerned about Josh Allen, so we're just going to run the ball until you crowd the box, at which point I have Dalton Kincaid, and he can certainly split out, but also he is enough of an inline blocker that if he's blocking well and blocking for James Cook, then we're just going to make that, in the words of Jim Harbaugh, where he can be a weapon and used most effectively.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're really hoping to get that safety closer to the line to open up the passing game. But, I mean, Josh Allen, at this point in career, he gets to the line of scrimmage. He sees too high. He sees corners. He sees the linebacker on the nickel. That's an easy run. He'll check out of it. And then more encouraging for the Bills is he's handing off to James Cook. You're not seeing a lot of that quarterback power that comes with the risk. So mean, I think James is off to a good start, and they got him a couple of touchdowns. So I think that would be priority A tonight, is continue what they started in the run game against Miami.
Josh Allen's been very good protecting the ball. He's lost a fumble, but he hasn't thrown an interception. Is this a more mature player or just a couple good games? How do you see that?
I mean, I think it started at the end of last year in the playoffs. He played turnover-free in those 2 games. And then he lost the fumble in the opening series of the season against Arizona. Area. Like, okay, all right, so much, awareness problems, blah, blah, blah. But, the outside perception on Allen, he's going to give you a chance for a takeaway. Well, that's worth taking if you're this offense, because he also makes some plays that are just completely unbelievable, including last week against Miami. So I think he's probably lower pass attempts means lower rate of turnovers, and that's the Bills' MO so far.
Josh Allen, no turnovers through the first 2 weeks of the NFL season. Only the second time in his career he's been able to do that. He has never gone his first 3 games without a turnover. File that one away, Jaguar fans. Ryan, we will ask you for a score prediction coming up in just a little bit. But first, since I asked Frank Frangie, who is, of course, up there in Buffalo with you as well, I will ask you, who is the X factor for the Jaguars in this matchup? Who is the X factor for the Buffalo Bills?
Yeah, I'll go back to Christian Kirk. I'm sure you guys have been talking all week. Not a lot going on. You need somebody else to step up so you don't have to rely on Brian Thomas catching 50-yard passes. And then for the Bills offense, Kincaid and Coleman are too easy to answer. Khalil Shakur out of the slot, he is a stud. And he has the trust of Josh Allen to go over the middle, has the trust of Allen on third down. So I think he'll be a guy that the Jaguars should have paid attention to during the prep.
I'm curious about Buffalo from a mindset standpoint, and I want to get your thoughts. Obviously, this is a pretty long layoff for being so early in the season. You'd love this to maybe be, in November, but obviously they played on a Thursday night. Now you're going all the way to the following Monday, so a double-digit amount of days. Is that a problem, you think, at all from a precision standpoint? And I'm assuming all the Bills have heard for really 2 weeks is how great they are. Do you think either thing is an intangible that works against them tonight?
I don't think so. As you hear me scan my parking pass, I think they went hard on Wednesday instead of the usual Thursday, Friday, Saturday practice week on a Monday night game. But I think it is a concern because it has been so long since you played football and practiced in pads. So, all right. But yeah, so we'll find out early whether this team is ready to go.
We know you have to scan your pass. We know you have to park in the parking lot
this
up there
got
in
a
Orchard
game
Park
to
at
cover.
Highmark Stadium. We've seen already over the course of our hour-plus program, Ryan, a little bit of movement on the line on mybookie.ag right now. And so I will ask you and leave you with this. Your final score prediction, seeing that the Bills are 5-point favorites. That line has shifted between 5.5 and 5 over the last hour, but the Jaguars currently plus 183 on the money line.
Yeah, I mean, I have a hard time seeing the the Bills cover because of the recent history between these two teams. So I think I went something like 27-23 in today's paper, but honestly, I had to file that so long ago, I can't really remember. But I do think it's going to be a tight game. The Jaguars have a ton on the line. 0-3 doesn't eliminate you, but it gets you into a math problem. As for the Bills, this is a big game for them, too, because the next 3 weeks, at Baltimore on a Sunday night, at Houston, at the Jets on a Monday night. So this is an important game for the Bills as well. So I don't think there's going to be any overlooking of Jacksonville tonight.
Hungry dogs run faster. Speaking of hungry dogs, go get yourself a little press box meal, Ryan. We've already gotten past our limit in terms of how much we can make you work for 1010XL on the air going behind enemy lines. Appreciate you, brother man.
Well, last thing is I met Michael Duraco at Anchor Bar, and he devoured 10 wings like in the time of a 3 and out. So
so he's
D-Rock
ready.
is enjoying Buffalo. D-Rock is ready to go. He goes, "What's there to eat in the press box?" I said, "There's nothing. You ate it all."
Why are you worried about us not being there? You have D-Rock. That's all you need up there in Western New York.
As we're walking out of the parking lot of the restaurant at lunch, I told D-Rock, I said, "You know what I'm going to say?" He goes, "You wish Gene was here, right?" I said, "You're damn right I do."
Ryan O'Halloran, everyone, on
He's
the Garber
got his flip card, so
Auto
he'll
Mall
be fine.
Hotline. Appreciate.
Where are my transcripts?
As long as he went to the right airport. Appreciate you, Ryan, and made sure he got the right rental car. We have used too much of his time. We got to keep it going here on the Terminix Kickoff Show. Always great to catch up with the columnist of Western New York, Ryan O'Halloran. When we come back, we're going to head into the locker room one more time. But first, our keys to the game brought to you by Instant Keys. That's coming up on the Terminix Kickoff Show, brought to you by Clearwater Irrigation and Gatorade.
From the first play ball to the final, your home for play-by-play is 1010XL.
Hi, I'm Chuck Farah. We know how important it is for you to have a vehicle after you've been injured in a car accident. So when we represent you for your personal injury claim, we'll help you get a rental car from the insurance company while your car is being repaired. And we'll provide this service at no additional fee. If you're hurt and you've got no car, let my team go to work for you. Farah & Farah, protecting you and your family. Call us at 396-5555 or go to farahandfarah.com. Jacksonville.
Wow, John, my Clearwater sprinkler system looks great.
All right, Frank, let's go ahead and program your Rainbird timer. How many minutes do you want the zones to run?
John, I think we run from the front 20, the sides 15, the back 10, the garden 5. Clearwater scores!
Well, that's a first, Frank, but you're the boss.
Clearwater Irrigation. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at sprinklers.
And drainage to
ClearwaterJacks.com. Hacker here, and the celebration continues on my countdown to 100 pounds. I'm now at 93.5 pounds with only 6.5 pounds to go. That will be a 100-pound swing in just over 6 months. Only a couple of more weeks to go, and I feel awesome. Life-changing and life-saving is what I like to say. Maybe you don't have 100 pounds to lose. Maybe it's 25 like Mike Dempsey or 40 like Matt Hayes. Whatever your number is, bring it to Awaken 180 and ask them how fast you'll reach it. But Hacker, I've tried other programs and diets before. Why will Awaken 180 work? That's simple, because if I can do it, anyone can do it. Remember, when I hit that 100-pound mark, we're going to celebrate. I'll keep you updated every week as I get closer, and you can even join in on the celebration. Pick up the phone and make your own 180. Call 844-346-1800 or online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Go inside your home team's locker room with Jags beat reporter Hayes Carline.
Check out my blog at 1010XL.com
so you can catch all the news and nuggets you need to know.
My blog is brought to you by Roland Reich Plumbing,
where quality and experience count.
Want to be up close and personal with the Jaguars as they take the field? Here's your chance to be in the shadows, outside the Jaguars locker room, now called the Vault. Enter today at everbank.com/shadows. One winner and a guest for every home game at Everbank Stadium. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to legal residents of the United States and D.C. 18 and older. Entry periods for the Shadow Sweepstakes promotion from 8/19/24 to 12/15/24. For official rules and complete details, visit everbank.com/shadows. Sponsored administrator, Everbank NA, member FDIC.
This is Keith Scott with Veterans Wholesale Cabinets. We are Northeast Florida's cabinet experts and your best option to elevate your home improvement project for both homeowners and contractors, and attention to detail to every project. VeteransWholesaleCabinets.com.
Yo, it's your boy E to the T, and I hope everybody had a plentiful betting weekend with my bookie. There was some money to be made. But check this out. We have a rare opportunity tonight with a doubleheader on Monday Night Football. We travel to Buffalo while the Bengals host them Commanders. If you're a big game hunter, get in on the action with Monday Night Football and bet the parlays. Parlay bets have a bigger payout when you hit. If you nail the spread and the over-under total for both games tonight on the parlay bet, it pays plus $1,200. That's a $100 bet that just turned into $1,200. If you haven't signed up, here's the deal. For a limited time, my bookie is bringing back the double deposit bonus. You need to get started now. Use my promo code 1010XL to claim that double deposit bonus on your money on your very first deposit. You heard that right. Double your money with promo code 1010XL. Then parlay your way onto that straight cash on me. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with my bookie. Come on, somebody.
Wicky Split AC, Plumbing, and Electric is now hiring. If you have a 5-star mentality to provide world-class custom plumbing or electrical solutions, you should work with Wicky Split. Their team is incredibly supportive, positive, and dedicated to being the best. If you have a valid driver's license with at least 18 months of experience, apply at Wicky Split, an equal opportunity employer offering competitive pay, a service truck, and a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Hiring management positions too. Visit WicketySplitFL.com.
Hicken here for Bout 9 Associates, where you'll find Jacksonville's most esteemed eye doctors at each of their locations. After being selected for one of the most competitive ophthalmology fellowships in the world, Dr. Frank Bowden is frequently called upon for his expert opinion. He is currently one of the few cornea and external disease specialists in the area and the founder of Bout 9. Visit Bout 9 Associates today and experience the difference. Bout 9 Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
Mia here. When it comes to roofing, whether it be shingles, metal, or most repairs, there is one name that has protected your home since 1999. Pro-Jax Roofing. Serving all of Northeast Florida, Mike and his guys have been repairing and replacing roofs for 25 years. Need insurance help? Mike's team can help. Raised in a military family, Mike provides great attention to detail with unparalleled quality and workmanship. They also have warranties, so you can have peace of mind. Call Mike today for a free estimate or online at projaxroofingfl.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the keys to the game. Brought to you by Instant Keys. Fast, professional, honest locksmith service.
2 more segments to go here on the Terminix Kickoff Show, brought to you by Clearwater Irrigation and Gatorade. Without further ado, after hearing from the likes of Frank Frangie, Ryan O'Halloran, Josh Hines-Allen, it's time, Hayes Carlion. Our keys to the game, brought to you by Instant Keys. Dylan, we got any bump music? This is the beauty of us being at headquarters doing this program. We can ask you for a little music to get us pumped up as we run through our keys to victory for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I think in looking at it, it starts with getting after Josh Allen and stopping James Cook. I mean, to me, that's if James Cook rushes for 65 yards or under, the Jaguars are going to win the game. Josh Allen's going to make a spectacular play or two. That he's probably the second best player in the league right now. But can you? Well
he's
done.
Not messing around. He saw the MyBookie Digital Studio chat line ask for it, and
That's
here
right.
it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think you look at Frank makes a good point. The defensive tackles have to be stout, particularly against the run, to slow James Cook down. I still don't have a lot of trust in those Bills receivers. Shakur is having a good start to the year. But I think if you can make Josh Allen have to incorporate Keon Coleman, those guys on the perimeter, I think you're going to be in good shape. So for me, it kind of starts the defense. I think the Jaguars have been able to hang their hat on. I think that's going to continue tonight. Slow down James Cook, get them in bad down and distance, and then go after Josh Allen and hope you can get him down to the ground a couple times and hope you can force him to throw the ball into some bad spots and take advantage of it.
I'm glad you led with James Cook as being a key to victory for the Jaguars. On the other side of the football, of course, given for the Buffalo Bills, Hayes. In his last, I don't know, let's say 7 games, dating back to... Let's go to last season. Yeah, let's go back to his last 1, 2, 3, 4, including the 3 playoff games, and then also the 2 games so far. So that's a grand total of 12 games. How many 100-yard performances has James Cook had?
6.
Dylan Denmark, any guesses?
You said 100-yard games?
100-yard games for Buffalo Bills running back James Cook in his last 12 games, dating back to last December's win over the Cowboys.
I say 9.
1.
Wow.
What?
He has had 1 100-plus rushing yard game. He had 25 carries for $179 against the Cowboys. Since then, 20 carries for 70 yards, 16 carries for 48 yards, 13 carries for 36 yards in the regular season finale at Miami. And mind you, it's not like he was racking up yards in the receiving game in those 4 games. He had 42 receiving yards against the Cowboys, 0 against the Chargers, -4 against New England, 16 against Miami. You go to the postseason, much of the same. He had 18 carries for 61 yards in the loss to the Chiefs. He had 18 carries for 79 yards in the win over the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then to the first 2 games of this year, James Cook, 71 rushing yards against the Cardinals, 78 against the Miami Dolphins. And that is where, and that's why Gus Logan and I broke it down on Duval Rundown last week. That is where this Joe Brady offense is so fascinating to me, because that seems to, on the surface, be the difference between Ken Dorsey's offense with the Buffalo Bills and Joe Brady's. This idea of you are going to lean on the running back. They're not really leaning on him, because rookie Ray Davis out of Kentucky only had 3 carries last time out either. So the first game he had 3 carries, the next game he had 9, but that was largely in garbage time because the game was at hand. This is an offense that, well, yes, it is not afraid to lean into the run. It's not like they're putting up 100-yard games. They are quite literally just taking whatever the defense presents. And so knowing Ryan Nielsen has this mantra of nothing cheap and nothing deep, I'm curious what will be presented to the Buffalo Bills tonight, knowing, again, that this idea of stopping the Bills' run is now at the forefront of defense coordinators.
It's a great point. Jaguar offensively, Mia, what do they have to do tonight? What's the big key in your mind when you look at that side of the ball?
Yeah, I said it last week. I'll say it again. This team should have been up 18-0 against the Buffalo Bills Week 5 last year in London if Evan Ingram catches that touchdown. As is, they were up 11-0 and largely were able to hold on to that lead, if not for a little bit of a scare late in the second half. And that, for me, is why they beat the Buffalo Bills last time out. They got off to a fast start. They were in rhythm from the jump. Yes, it got a little clunky, a little questionable there. A 40-yard pass from Trevor Lawrence to Calvin Ridley on third down largely saved you from what could have been absolute disaster at Tottenham Stadium. But I think that, again, we saw it in the game against the Dolphins Week 1 this season. If this offense can get into a rhythm early and find confidence, that's where not only do you see them physically carry themselves with more authority, hey, we can do this, but also, if not for that ETN fumble, which, look, we're not going to be able to take it back. This team knows it's part of their story, just like losing 5 of their last 6. But up until that point, you at least saw some sort of cohesion and some sort of fluidity from play to play. And I don't want to put this back on the play caller, but Hayes, that's the reality of it. It's not just about the players having confidence because they feel themselves matriculating, in Travis Etienne's words, up and down the field, but the play caller also sees that fluidity from play to play.
Without a doubt, all great points. And yeah, I think offensively tonight, you got to be 70-30 pass. I mean, you got to run it some just to somewhat keep the Bills honest with it. But it's time. I mean, it's time to see what Brian Thomas looks like with 12 targets. Obviously, you want to get Christian Kirk a ton of work as well. Gabe Davis going back to Buffalo, you know he's going to be supremely motivated. You're going to get the best out of Gabe Davis tonight, which I think is a really good player. Take advantage of that. It may only be 5 or 6 targets, but that could end up being 4 catches for 120 yards and a touchdown or 2. So you've got the weapons. I'd like to see Etienne on the angle route that they hit for the touchdown in the preseason. You know, try to work that in a few times. But to me, run it just to kind of slow down Buffalo's pass rush somewhat. Run it occasionally, but for the most part, the message tonight should be we're sending a statement to this league that we paid the right quarterback, that we've built the right weapons here, and we have an air show in Jacksonville that we have yet to unleash. But tonight is the night. I'd like to see pace. I think that would work well. Again, that was another thing that Trevor Lawrence really went into, I thought, some pretty deep insight on why it helps him and the difficulty it makes for the defense in terms of it's hard to get to your really exotic calls because of the communication part that you just don't have time to go through if somebody's going to go up tempo.
Are we talking about play calling? Or we're talking about play calling?
We're going to have to. I mean, it's something that it's become, you know, by their own doing, a much bigger story than it should have ever been. And historically, it's got to be talked about because it doomed him in Philadelphia and Doug Peterson. So, you know, in looking at it, I think they've got the talent. I think they can go and move the ball through the air on anyone in this league. And I absolutely think they can do it tonight in Buffalo. But they've got to be committed to tonight is the night that we show the NFL what Jacksonville can do through the air with Trevor Lawrence and Christian Kirk and Brian Thomas and Gabe Davis. And then, obviously Brenton Strange will be a part of that as well. You'd love to have Evan Ingram, but not having Evan Ingram does not in any way diminish my motivation if I'm Doug Peterson to see what Buffalo can do in terms of stopping my passing game.
Especially considering what the Jaguars looked like the last few times out in prime time in front of a national TV audience. Sunday Night Football, that offense may have had its worst game outside of the loss at Tampa on Christmas Eve to the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday Night Football. We know what happened against the Cincinnati Bengals. The biggest omen I think I've ever seen in professional sports that I've ever been a part of, with Christian Kirk's injury on the first play from scrimmage on offense, and then of course the Trevor Lawrence injury later in the game, despite the fact that it was probably Trevor's best game statistically of the season up to that point. We are running through our keys to the game, brought to you by Instant Keys. I see plenty of you on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, as well as the MyBookie Digital Studio chat line chiming in. Please keep them coming. And many of you have raised that same point that Hayes did, which is we need to see the vertical passing game. Number one, we need to see a passing game because Trevor Lawrence dropping back 4 times and a half, not exactly economically or, efficiently sustainable in the modern NFL, but also because this is a team that doubled down on the fact that it was too horizontal a year ago. They went out, they signed Gabe Davis, who's a big vertical threat. They went out, they drafted Brian Thomas Jr. to be the burner that Calvin Ridley was not. And in turn, they said, we're going to go away from the cute bubble horizontal swing passes. To their credit, we have not seen those cute horizontal bubble screen swing passes, Hayes, but I almost feel like you do need to incorporate them, the best offenses in the NFL do, to keep your defense honest. That is, if you don't have a player of Brian Thomas Jr. or Gabe Davis's caliber who are going to create separation one-on-one down the field. Now, because you have not gone to either of them largely through the first 2 games of the season, perhaps that does create those mismatches that Ryan O'Halloran alluded to with DeMar Hamlin and Taylor Rapp in the secondary for the Buffalo Bills.
Without a doubt. And again, Brian Thomas has shown no sign that this is too big for him. So what do you do in that circumstance? You give him more. You give him more responsibility, and that should start tonight. I'm also intrigued to see, because if obviously when Buffalo watches the first 2 games, I mean, they're going to sit there and say to themselves, this rookie has 6 catches for 141 yards and a touchdown. He could easily have 11 catches for 250 yards and multiple touchdowns. I mean, he has been open a ton where he has not gotten the ball. So also intriguing to see, does Buffalo start to change their coverage priority, and does Brian Thomas become a bigger part of their focus? If that's what happens, that's fine, because you still, with Christian Kirk and Gabe Davis, should be able to punish them for that. And that's the key. There will be a mismatch tonight. Doug Peterson, Press Taylor, and Trevor Lawrence have got to find it.
From 769 on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, Trevor has to start recognizing a bad play call and take over an audible out of it. It's time. Let's have the discussion. The problem right now is that Trevor is checking in and out of plays. The issue is they're not getting the play call in quickly enough. And for whatever the reason, this offense over the better part of the last calendar year takes it down until the play clock is at 2 or 3 to actually snap the ball. Is that because translating from the headset to the quarterback is taking forever? Is it because the quarterback is getting the play and being like, no, because look at that coverage? We don't know, because we don't know who's calling the plays, and we are not in that telecommunication headset. But, Hayes, I cannot help but come away from that idea of Trevor wanting to push pace, Trevor and this offense looking at their best when they are no huddle, hurry up. We see how well they execute in the end of a first half situation. I mean, they went down the field against Miami. They kicked a field goal. You saw them in the final minutes or so of the second quarter against the Browns. When they go hurry up, they are more than capable of being that air show that so many people expected them to be. So I don't know why they're not playing that way for 4 quarters, outside of they want to reinvent the wheel. And by they, I mean the play caller, the coaching staff, and the players themselves.
And it's got to start tonight. I mean, Travis Etienne, he's a great running back. And certainly there will be some game plans where you're going to want to lean on him. But I think for where you are right now through 2 games, you're putting this game on Trevor Lawrence and his arm and his brain. And does Trevor need to play better? Does he need to make better decisions?
Sorry
yes,
to 264. The wristband wouldn't solve anything.
Yeah,
this has nothing to do with that.
I agree. It's just one of those things that you've built a roster, you've built an offense that should be difficult for any team to cover everything at all times. Now it's up to the Jaguars to identify that mismatch and to execute it. But there's no reason it shouldn't be there tonight. And they've got to go find it. If Trevor Lawrence is only thrown 10 passes, now some of this is you got to get the Bills off the field. It works hand in hand. But assuming Buffalo doesn't just dominate the Jaguar defense with long drives, there is no reason tonight that Trevor Lawrence shouldn't have every opportunity to light up the stat sheet, light up the scoreboard, and again, send a message to the league of, yes, I very much am an ascending player. I am not somebody that was a mistake, because that's the question that's out there right now.
And the other big buzzword, we'll address this in one of our final keys to the games, is the Jaguars' offensive line. Hayes has been saying it for an hour and a half now. We need to see more out of Cam Robinson. We need to see more out of Anton Harrison. There is no question. We have all been, Frank Frangie said it too, pleasantly surprised by that interior 3. We need to see a consistent performance from those 5, yes. However, I'm not worried about them in the run game. They've been able to run the ball. Certainly the question has been protection. And I've seen some of you who have chimed in and have said, can they protect long enough for Brian Thomas Jr. to get downfield for a 66-yard catch? I don't know, like he did in the second half last week against Cleveland Browns. So the answer is yes. It comes down to the protection. If you are just going to drop the 5 of them back every single play, 15 to 20 times per game with no help from a tight end, with no help from a running back, with no play action, then you are putting a line that, yes, on paper, we already had questions how good they could actually be. You are putting them at a disadvantage. That is where, regardless of if it's the play caller or who is creating the offensive scheme, has to step in. I don't know, like Kyle Shanahan does in San Francisco. You never see those 5 offensive linemen drop back without help, drop back without play action or moving the pocket. And so that is where I know you all want to blame the 5 offensive linemen for everything. But this is a much bigger picture issue, at least at this current juncture.
Yeah, without a doubt, all great points. And again, there is no reason that Cam Robinson should not play well tonight. You are a grizzled veteran in this league who has opened with 2 poor games. If you don't play well tonight, it's not there anymore. I mean, that's basically it. That's where we are with Cam Robinson. And look, he should be plenty motivated. Yes, he is a highly compensated player. But if this does not pick up, they will pull him. As well they should. And if you're Cam Robinson, you've got to then ask yourself, what kind of career, where am I headed? Because this team's going to release me. So what am I moving forward?
Worse yet, he's a free agent after this year.
Is another team going to look at me as an answer at left tackle? Am I looking at the best I'm going to get is a chance to compete? Like Cam Robinson's, the future of his career is very much up in the air. And he needs to play well tonight. Anton Harrison does as well, but obviously he's at a much different stage of his development in his career. I expect Cam Robinson to play well tonight because I just don't see 3 straight subpar games. It'd be unacceptable. He's not dealing with anything medically. It's not like this is a guy trying to, gut it out at 60%. Like, we saw Justin Herbert for the Chargers at quarterback really try and gut out the high ankle sprain, couldn't really go. He's not dealing with anything. He needs to play well. There's no excuse for Cam Robinson to not be playing well. And again, it's time. Tonight's a big night for Cam Robinson.
Those are our keys to the game, brought to you by Instant Keys. When we come back with one more segment to go here on the Terminix Kickoff Show, brought to you by Clearwater Irrigation and Gatorade, we will check in with our very own Rick Ballou, who I am told has arrived in Buffalo. We'll hear from Rick, final thoughts, score predictions, and a whole lot more right here on the Superstation as we get you ready for kickoff between the Jaguars and the Bills coming up tonight on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Is an injury keeping you on the sidelines? Whether it's your shoulder, neck, back, knee, wrist, or ankle, don't let pain hold you back any longer. At Injury Care Centers, they offer the same high-tech treatments trusted by the pros to supercharge your recovery without surgery. The road to recovery starts the moment you pick up the phone. 904-783-0008. That's 904-783-0008. Injury care starts at Injury Care Centers.
Joe C. for Hard Rock Bet. It's the sports book for every kind of player. Straightforward, simple enough for the first-time bettor, but built with all the features experienced players expect. Plus, try it now. If your first bet doesn't hit, you'll get a bonus bet back up to $100. Easy deposits and fast withdrawals. PayPal, Venmo, and more. All you have to do to get started is download the Hard Rock Bet app. Go online, hardrock.bet. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Right now, they're on their way to ruin your day. Don't bother calling the police. They can't help. And if you're not prepared, you will suffer. Yes, it's that time of the year. Heat and humidity are attacking North Florida. But help is at hand. Call Mike Merritt's Heating and Air Conditioning. Mike Merritt has a license to chill and lets you maintain your comfort zone at a bargain price. How? Mike Merritt stands ready to help, routine or emergencies. And Mike Merritt knows emergencies can happen at any time. So with Mike, there's never any overtime charges. And Mike's team works without commissions. Merritt will never try to sell you parts you don't need. You can't trust just anyone with a truck. Call Mike Merritt, the company North Florida has trusted for 35 years. Call today. License number CAC 050384.
It only takes a drop of water to cause someone to slip and fall, but it takes a lot more to prove that your injuries were the result of negligence. The store said the floor was dry. Our investigators learned that on the day of the accident, it had been raining.
So the next time it rained, we went back. And guess what? Rainwater was dripping from the ceiling exactly where our client was injured. When you're in for the fight of your life, investigators with 30 years of experience is a good thing. Farah and Farah, Jacksonville.
Give us your hot take.
Pop quiz, hot shot.
On the 1010XL text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures.
You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm awake and I speak English, so yeah, I do know what you're saying.
Be part of the conversation. 641-1010.
Guys, feeling deflated in the bedroom? ED, low T, no energy? If your stuff is broken, call 904-STROKEN or 904stroken.com. No shots in the first treatment, now free. Fix your ED at 904stroken.com.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Foods. Dandy subs and sandwiches. Look, we always want you to think about those great options as you're driving around Duval. But the beauty is, even as I'm dropping pounds, Dandy's got great options for me as well. Told you all about their protein packs, delicious salads that they have out there. They have fruit cups for on the go. You know what they have. Veggie snack trays. You can grab those on the go as well. Perfect, healthy snack. Dandy is the name to know when you're on the go. So stop into a Gate store anywhere around Duval and make yours a dandy. And do it today.
It's storm season, and JEA is committed to keeping you informed. In the event of a storm, we'll text and email you about the status of your services. We use Facebook and X to post real-time updates. Our live outage map on JEA.com lets you track restoration progress. And as crews work to restore services, our storm outreach team will be in local neighborhoods to answer your questions. Because as your community utility, JEA is here to keep you safe and connected. Your community, your utility.
Hey, John, my dad, Randy Marion's gone absolute Cadillac crazy. You won't believe our Escalade lineup.
Well, how crazy we talking, Jennifer?
Buckle up, folks. We've got over 35 Cadillac Escalades.
35 Escalades? That's luxury overload.
I'm talking fully loaded models, cutting-edge tech, and that signature Cadillac style.
And the deals are even more luxurious. $4,000 Escalade loyalty rebate.
Plus 5% off MSRP on retired courtesy vehicles. Head to Randy Marion Cadillac on Southside Boulevard, Jacksonville.
Plus tax tag title $899 MNP and resistol.
Tell them Jennifer sent ya.
3D Digital has you covered for any of your business's digital marketing needs. From producing award-winning videos to getting those digital ads to follow your customers around the internet, our team has your back. Visit 3ddigital.com or give us a call at 904-712-4004 to schedule a free consultation today. 904-712-4004.
Hey, Hicken here. Are you tired of having your carpets professionally cleaned only to have them looking dingy again? Zero Res can help. I'll tell you what, they have the technology. Zero Res uses its patented ZR water that cleans beautifully without using any soaps, detergents, or shampoos. That means zero residue left behind. And guess what? Zero Res falling back in time for September. 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $129, and we'll clean a 4th room for free. That's right. The 4th room is on me. Zero Res, man. Spell it forward. Zero Res, spell it backwards. It's a right way to clean.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Rumor has it, Rick Ballou has descended upon Western New York. Rick Ballou joining us on the Garber Auto Mall hotline. Can you confirm or deny these reports, sir?
Beautiful Buffalo, Mia. No place I'd rather be to watch the Jaguars hopefully try to snap this 2-game losing streak. And I tell you what, you can feel it from the airport coming in. Fans are all over the place, and they're a lively group. My earlier experiences here in Buffalo have always been kind of interesting. It's been a lot. It feels like when I've been here before, it was deeper in the year, much more colder than it's going to be here tonight.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, Rick, what do the conditions look like? What are they going to be playing in?
Yeah, I asked the limo guy on the way over. He's like, well, we had a little bit of rain today, but no rain tonight. I never checked the weather, so I'll take his word for it. But certainly, we have been hit with it earlier today, and I'm peeking outside as when I get done with you guys, I'm going to make my way over to the stadium. But it looks like we have a light rain here. So I guess the guy who gave us the info a couple minutes ago, he was dead wrong.
I will tell you this, Rick, and Frank Frangie echoed this when he joined us earlier here on the Terminix Kickoff show, that the last 4 to 5 days in central and western New York, it's been sunny and 85. And so if nothing else, I wouldn't think the ground would be saturated, or that this idea of the Bills practicing in colder, gloomy weather is an advantage that they would have, outside of course, doing that most of the year compared to Jacksonville.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, rain is something that these guys are fully aware about, play in it or practice in it. I think Jacksonville really dodges a bullet here weather-wise, even if it does rain tonight. I mean, getting Buffalo, in November or December is just brutal. I mean, it is just awful playing in these conditions. Arguably the worst in the NFL. Maybe, you make a case for Green Bay, or when the wind whips off of, Lake Michigan out at Soldier Field in Chicago. But, yeah, I don't think that's a factor tonight at all. I think these guys will be ready for anything that comes their way, and it should be a real interesting ballgame.
Rick, in your opinion, what should Doug Peterson's offensive game plan be tonight against Buffalo?
Well, I think they got to take some chances. I mean, the two things that really stick out to me is that you have a big lead in Miami and you fumble. Then you look back and you see that you only threw the ball 7 times in the final 30 minutes of play. So, they sat on the lead and they tried to get out of there by running clock. You got to take chances here. We know that Buffalo is nicked up. They're back 7 without 2 starters today, a Mike linebacker and a nickel corner. And also, you look at, 16 yards passing against Cleveland in their last game in the very first half. So the offenses have totally gone away in half of their games. If you look at the first half against Cleveland and second half against Miami, if they can be just a little bit more consistent, they've been able to run the football effectively. But if you can mix in some passes, Hayes, and for crying out loud, look at the targets so far this year to Christian Kirk, and in the ratio, I want to say it's 6 of 8 so far for Brian Thomas Jr., and we know Ingram's not going to play again tonight. Throw the football to those 2 wide receivers. Your leading guy right now as far as targets and snaps is Gabe Davis, and he wants to have a big game against his former team. So let's see him come out tonight and try to throw the football and try to win a football game. That's hopefully what Doug Peterson has Trevor Lawrence do.
You get him every night here on the Superstation, Into the Night with Rick Ballou. He is currently up in Buffalo covering the Jaguars-Bills Monday Night Football game for us and joining us currently on the Garber Auto Mall hotline. Other side of the ball, Rick, what scares you the most? If you're looking for a matchup that the Jaguars should be very, very locked in on, what is that matchup with the Buffalo Bills?
Well, Josh Allen's so good, and they become such a good running football team because of his ability to get it done both with the arm and the legs. James Cook turning into one of the better backs in the league. But I got to believe right now they're looking at, half of the secondary out again with no Tyson Campbell. Then the announcement that came down yesterday that Darnell Savage isn't going to be able to play. I have to think that Buffalo believes they can throw the football tonight. Jacksonville can't cheat, send an extra guy in, along with the front seven. I also am be very interested as to how that rotation is going to be tonight for the Jaguars. And we'll know 90 minutes before kick when we see who's healthy and even if they are, healthy scratches. But what is the case going to be tonight for Ryan Nielsen and his ability to rotate so many different guys? I was a little bit disappointed with what they did a week ago, particularly sitting down Mason Smith. So they get another opportunity to play in front of a nationally televised audience. And I think Buffalo believes that they can run the ball with some success. And I would also think right now that they believe that they can pass the football because of those two injuries in the Jaguars secondary.
Do you believe this is a must-win, or do you think this team could rally and get into the tournament from an 0-3 start?
I think this week or next week, all along, Hayes, I had them 1-3. So it didn't go the way that I expected. I thought they'd beat Cleveland, lose here tonight, then lose against Houston. Either Minnesota is the team to beat and just give them the trophy now, or Houston showed that, they have some warts because they were really blown out yesterday. So even if it doesn't work tonight, not saying they can't go out there next week and win a divisional game, but I don't think it is, even if it does get away from them tonight, that massive panic and the season is over. All along, I thought they would struggle in their first four. I had them 1-3. Then that schedule becomes more manageable with Indy and both games in London against a couple of clubs that are struggling. And then obviously late in the year, I think it's really gettable. I do have the Jaguars winning 5 of their final 6 games this year, the exact opposite of a season ago. So a long-winded answer. I know everyone will be disappointed if they don't win here tonight, but no, must win, in my opinion, it's not.
Oh, the truth teller says no need to hit the panic button. Interesting. Rick, before we let you go on the Garber Automall hotline, and of course we ask you for a score prediction, I'll run through some MyBookie lines too, because I know you are always interested in taking a look at what the desert is thinking about with the Big Cats. Give us an idea of the landscape right now in terms of how many Jags fans are boots on the ground. Are people already making their way to the stadium up there in Orchard Park?
Well, I learned something on the way over. From JFK in New York City. We were supposed to have an hour layover before hopping on the quick little flight from JFK to Buffalo, but apparently our pilot is getting paid by the hour because it was the slowest route in the history from Jacksonville to New York City, and instead of spending an hour where you could use the lavatory and maybe pick up yourself a sandwich or whatever, there was about 50 of us acting as if we were O.J. Simpson running through the airport trying to get to the plane to Buffalo. So my plane was packed with Jaguar fans.
Love
and again,
it.
This is kind of a late arriving flight. We got in here around 3 o'clock this afternoon. But, I've heard from a lot of buddies who've been here since Saturday or got here yesterday. I think it's going to be another good representation tonight. I think there's going to be plenty of Jaguar fans out here in Buffalo.
We already heard from Ryan O'Halloran. He has concerns about the Bills covering the 5-point spread that currently resides at mybookie.ag. You can also get the Jaguars right now at plus 183 by visiting mybookie.ag. It's also a 3-point line for the halftime score. Ton of fun props there, Rick. But what say you, Jaguars, Bills, score prediction, and what Vegas is thinking this evening?
Yeah, I think Vegas is on to something. I like Buffalo here, 24-17. I just think they're a better football team, and they got the night crowd. And, lost in all this is that Sean McDermott's 1-3 against Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence is 2-0 against the Bills. They're still upset about a year ago in London. They're still upset about 2021 and an awful 9-6 football game. So they don't forget that. And a lot of those players are still on the team. So, unfortunately, I think it's Buffalo tonight. I think Buffalo covers. Give me 24-17 Bills.
Very good. Well, Hopefully it doesn't go that way, but we know you'll do a great job. We'll look forward to your outstanding coverage up there, Rick.
Thank you very much. Hayes, Mia, always a pleasure. See you back in the building there tomorrow.
Absolutely. That's Rick Ballou on the Garber Auto Mall hotline live from Buffalo. Look, I mean, we're not lying, Carlion, when we led the show and said this is the first time we've done this studio show together from the studio and someone else has been on the road since the Jaguars shocked the world and beat the Chargers Week 3 of the 2022 regular season. Look, if Rick wins, we may have to start sending Rick to every game.
Absolutely.
Sorry to Rick. Sorry to JFK, air traffic control. We will be sending Rick Ballou from here on out because we need those good vibes. Even if he doesn't believe it's a must-win, as we get ready to make our picks and final thoughts, Hayes Carlion, I know you get the inkling that this is win or die for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I think it's awfully close. I mean, I think an 0-3 start, because of, I think they're already teetering from a confidence standpoint. I think if you lose in front of the entire NFL world tonight, even though there's certainly nothing to be ashamed of losing at Buffalo, they're a great team. But I just think starting 0-3, it's going to be a hard climb back for these guys. I get it; they'd still just be a couple games back of Houston, but it gives me, if you can't go into Buffalo and win when this is the start to your season, can you really rally and go win in Houston? So it's to me, it's like a 90% must win. There's just so much season left, and they do have talent to get hot, but they need to win tonight. I mean, win tonight. Now you're going into a game on Sunday in Houston where you're feeling great about yourself. You found that confidence again, and Houston, is going to have a lot of things they're trying to correct, and the Jaguars won in Houston last year. So win tonight. Get the train back on the tracks, and I think they can be fine. But if they lose tonight, I think it's too much right out of the gate. You're going to have games where you don't play well. I mean, we can't just assume they're going to go to London and win both those games. They should, but to me, 0-3 puts you in such a tough hole that I think it's about as close to a must win as a game in September can be. And we'll see. We'll see how they respond. We're going to find out. If you want to know what the Jaguars are made of, you're going to find out tonight.
I've read the stat a couple of times regarding the underdog on Monday Night Football against the spread. 12-25 and 1 in the last 38 games. 1-1 so far this season. Perhaps this may tickle your fancy, though. The underdog has covered the spread in 6 straight Jaguars-Bills games. It looks like everybody out in Vegas is saying, hey, maybe the Jags don't win the game, but do they cover? Lord knows we need more than a cover, Hayes Carline. Good teams win, great teams cover, sure, but this team in this locker room needs to taste a victory, I think solely so that they can win ever again. And that's very dramatic, and that's a lot of hyperbole, but I think that you need to see the fruits of the labor. Yes, it's about the process, not the results. But for the Jags, if they don't see that all-important result in the final tally, which is a win or a loss, that's where you have to have questions of, is Doug Peterson, is this coaching staff's message getting lost to the players? Particularly
if it's what we've seen the first 2 weeks. If the defense plays well enough to win and they lose this game tonight, let's say they lose it 17-14, it's going to be a tough locker room. I mean, because the defensive guys will have every right to be like, we should be 3-0. I mean, what are you guys doing? You've got all this talent. You've got all this investment on that side of the ball. You've supposedly got a head coach that's, a brilliant offensive mind. I mean, what is going on here? So it'll depend on how it goes. But yeah, if this game is much like the first 2 that we've seen, it's going to be awfully difficult, I think, for there to be a lot of harmony in that locker room. Having said that, I think the Jaguars get it done tonight. I think it's going to be an outstanding game. I think it's the kind of game where the Bills are going to have a shot at the end, but I think the Jaguars win 28-24. A Josh Allen pass from the 18-yard line sails through the back of the end zone, and the Jaguars survive on the final play.
Dylan Denmark, what say you?
I like the Bills by a field goal. I think they're a little too good. I'm going to say 27-24 Bills.
So I picked the Jags, over the Browns last week. That did me dirty. I picked the Florida Gators to not cover a 7-point spread and to not beat the Mississippi State Bulldogs. That burned me as well. So why the heck not? If it's not a win tonight, Jacksonville, I don't know when you're going to get a win. Jaguars, 24-17. That does it for the Terminix Kickoff Show. Our thanks to Frank Frangie, our thanks to Rick Ballou, and our thanks to Ryan O'Halloran for joining us on the Garber Auto Mall hotline. For Hayes Carline, I am Mia O'Brien, signing off. The Publix Tailgate Show with Brian Sexton, JP Shadrick, and Mike Dempsey comes up next right here on the home of the Big Cats, 1010XL and 92.5 FM.